don't be making decisions based off of what's not going to work in 5 years. Make decisions on what will work right now, what will grow the business right now. Paid marketing works, especially when you do it right. I have seen teams that have won worlds that don't have amazing equipment, maybe a tumble track, they have a spring floor, and they just train their butts off. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cheer Biz Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Cotton, and today we are talking about 4 changes that you need to make to start dominating in business. Now, before we get into the episode, make sure you have liked both of our groups on Facebook, All-Star Cheer Coaches and Owners, and you are in that group, and Cheer Gym Owners on Facebook as well. So you are getting all of the great conversation. We have an amazing community in those groups, and I want to make sure you are in them. And remember, you can always head on over to nextgenowners.com to learn more about NextGen and the Academy and how you can join. So I got to tell you, I am fired up right now. So I'm going to ask you a little bit of forgiveness ahead of time. I'm going to do my best. I'm not going to drop any curse words or anything in the episode, but I'm fired up. And this is something that I just have really wanted to talk to you guys about. Now is the time. I've seen a couple other podcasts that have inspired me to just be like, I've got to do this episode. And I've been talking to gym owners. I've been doing more and more calls as people have expressed interest in NextGen. And I love it. It's super amazing to have so many people calling to get into the Academy. So it's absolutely amazing. But as we get into this episode, I'm going to be talking about some very specific things, and I may be having you feeling like you are targeted. So if you do feel targeted by this episode, I need you to realize that that is an ish you, not an ish me. Because I'm just going to be holding up the mirror. And if you are seeing your reflection in the mirror, that's not me trying to call you out. That is your own brain telling you, hey, we need to be thinking about this because we are potentially doing that thing. And these things I'm talking to you guys about, the changes that you need to make to be crushing it in business, are things that are all too common in this industry. So I'm going to be getting into them. I'm going to be coming at you fast and furious. Even there are times where I hold up the mirror to myself. So I'm not excluded from this process. So number 1, first and foremost, you need to stop making excuses for why you cannot do the thing. Now, when I say the thing, it could mean a lot of different things, but I hear so many explanations and excuses for why owners can't do the things that I'm suggesting to them or that are out there in the universe that will help them make more money. For example, I hear owners all the time say, well, I can't get a functional website because I just can't afford it. When meanwhile, there are services out there that can get you a very affordable website that is well done, that sells for you, that has automations that are going to plug into marketing and emailing and Trello and all of these amazing resources that will make your life easier, making your website your cheapest employee you could possibly have, yet you can't afford that $350 a month to pay for services to continue to update your website. Or owners that will tell me that they can't do a thing because, well, I just can't scale that. I can't scale the ability to answer the phone and talk to people on the phone, or I can't scale the ability to send people a handwritten thank you card for signing up for our gym. When meanwhile, there are Fortune 500 companies that started out by doing handwritten cards for everyone who made a purchase. And then that owner then went to signing the card. And then it went from the card not being specifically from them, but a handwritten card from the company, and having a team that does handwritten cards. Like, there are so many ways to scale things that you don't realize. And the reality is that you don't have a inability to scale. You have a lack of skill in order to scale that thing, right? You don't actually know how to scale it. So it's really a skill gap more than it is an inability to scale. Or the frequent excuse of you don't do paid marketing because you don't know how to do it, or you don't believe that it works in your market. When the reality is that paid marketing works especially when you do it right. It is a fact. It absolutely works. So unless you're going to convince me that gravity also does not apply to you in your universe, you're never going to convince me that doing paid marketing can't work. If you've done paid marketing and it didn't work, it's likely a skill gap. You didn't do it right, or you just didn't give it enough time, which is kind of my subsection B to number one, which is stop being so impatient. Those are the things that are giving you the excuse to say, oh, well, this thing doesn't work, when really the answer is you're just too impatient to give things the time to work. You are the kid who comes into the gym who says, I want my back handspring today, and I've never tumbled before. Well, I'm sorry, but good things take time. And if you want to get traction in paid advertisements or things like that, you need time. You need to be doing those advertisements regularly and consistently. They need to be changing. You need to be spending on them. These are all the reasons that your paid advertising might not be working. There's so many more. So you can learn how to do this. It is a skill gap. It's not that that thing doesn't work. And in fact, I may do a whole nother episode of all of the excuses I hear for why you cannot do a certain thing, but they are constant. And these could even be, if you're a coach listening to this, instead of saying, well, and I've done this, right? Well, I'm never going to win X event. That's never going to be us because X, Y, and Z, because we don't have talented enough athletes, or athletes don't attend regularly enough, or our athletes aren't committed enough, or they're not dedicated enough, or we don't have the right. Look, I have seen teams that have won worlds that don't have amazing equipment. They have maybe a tumble track, they have a spring floor, and they just train their butts off. For the first 8 years of owning our gym, probably not that long, at least the first 4 years, we had 2 panel mats, 1 crummy cheese mat, and 2 8-inchers and a tumble track. And that was it. We didn't have any other mats or cool different things. Like, I guess we had a rod floor because we got that early on. But other than that, we didn't have all the mats and crazy cool doodads. And we created so many different drills and so much skill progression. And we created great tumblers even in our early days. So you don't need all the bells and whistles. Those are just excuses. Stop making those excuses for why you can't accomplish something. And the answer is not the excuse, it's that you're not willing to. In some way, shape, or form, it comes down to you're not willing to do that thing. And it's okay. If you really want to say, I'm not willing to, then own it. At least you're knowing that it's not, well, I can't because, and blaming it on some extrinsic thing. It is intrinsic. You are limiting yourself. And there is certainly possibilities. I cannot spend $10,000 a day on marketing. That's a valid point. Your budget doesn't allow for that, but that doesn't mean that you can't do any marketing. Okay. Like if you're running your gym and you are paying rent, and even if you're not, if you're renting space, you probably can. You probably can afford $5 a day. You probably can afford to get a functional website. There are so many options out there that exist that allow you to do these things. So that's number one. Stop making excuses for why you can't do the thing. Number two, pet peeve of mine in the cheer industry, stop avoiding talking to clients. And by clients, I mean the parents. The athlete is not your main client. They're not the person who pays the bills, and they're oftentimes not the person who decides whether or not they're going to enroll somewhere. You need to talk to parents. You need to have those conversations. Now, maybe you're at a point in your business where you don't need to be that person. You have people to have those conversations, but you need to be engaging with your clientele. It doesn't have to be all the time, every single day. I understand that you may not have that time. Maybe you have a front desk. I have a front desk. She talks to parents every single day, and she gives me feedback. And then I talk to parents more intermittently as it is needed, as well as like some monthly reach outs or bi-weekly things or stuff like that. So I'm not always talking to parents, but stop avoiding talking to your clients. These are the people that are literally going to tell you what they want and how you can get more money from them. They're going to say, these are the things that I would like to pay for. And then you go, okay, how do I accomplish that? They're going to tell you, these are the things that matter to us to reduce churn in your business and have longer retention. You need to be talking to your clients. And especially if you're a new gym, if you're within your first 1 to 5 years. You need to be talking to your clients as much as you possibly can, and even talking to people who may not be your clients, the people who can't afford your services, because you're going to learn what they're looking for versus what your client avatar is looking for. You're going to learn those things, and it's only going to happen through conversation, through getting to know people, through learning what their pains and needs and goals are. And when you listen to the things that your parents are wanting, you may have to listen to the subtext. It may not be the specific thing. So they may come to you and they may say, we want that sports bra exactly. But what you have to listen to is, okay, what they're wanting is more merchandise, or we want that uniform. Okay, well, don't go make that uniform. But what they're saying is they want more of what that uniform is providing. So you're going to have to listen to the subtext and realize, what is the pain point? What is the problem that they're really trying to solve? And then how can you, with your product or with a product you can put into your business, solve that problem? You have to listen to them. You have to talk to them. You have to avoid those discussions. If you are not comfortable talking to people in your business, one, I'm going to be honest, if you're a brand new business owner and you don't have a lot of money to hire people to do that, you are going to struggle. You have to be willing to talk to your clientele. Now, can you be successful without it? Sure, I've seen it happen every once in a while, but I don't recommend it. I think it is a much harder path, and you're going to just be lucky. You're also going to be making decisions based off of no information. So you're going to be going off of gut decisions, and quite frankly, your gut is wrong 90% of the time. If I have gut feelings and harebrained ideas that Tori and Danielle and other people in my life have to talk me out of all the time, because my gut is just intuition, and intuition is not always right. Now, it may be a good inspiration, but the best thing you can do is get information from the people who actually matter and are actually making the decision. You are not your customer. So go and talk to your customer to learn what they want. Number 3, acting like you're rich before you are. This is a little bit nebulous because or not nebulous, but this is maybe something that you're like, well, I don't even think like I'm rich. Maybe you don't think you're rich, but you may be acting like you're rich. So stop thinking about the things that you can't do, because once you get to a certain amount of revenue, or once you get to a certain amount of kids, or once you get to this, thinking 5 steps down the road, well, that won't work then, so we can't do it now. That's not true. Don't be making decisions based off of what's not going to work in 5 years. Make decisions on what will work right now, what will grow the business right now. And then when you get 5 years down the road, you can solve this problem. AKA, I just opened, and I know that once I have 100 kids in All-Stars and 100 kids in classes, I can't do the tours and sales. So I need to hire someone now to do that, because I know, because I've listened to Dan's podcast, that those are really important roles. So I'm going to hire for that right now. Maybe you can, but if you can't afford to hire someone on, then you need to be the person doing that. Like I'm not a big hustle porn culture kind of person, but there is a point in time in your business where you got to wear a lot of hats and you got to do the work. And there isn't really a way around that other than having a bunch of funding up front. So you can either have, all businesses have debt, right? You can either have financial debt where you bring on investors, or you invest your own personal money into the business to hire out and pay for skilled positions to fill roles. Or there is management debt or time debt on behalf of the ownership, where you are giving of your time to do a bunch of roles and wear a bunch of hats and hustle to grow your business. You've got to have one of the 2 debts when you're first starting out. It's just, there's no other way around it, because you don't have the revenue to support those positions. So you need to learn how to do those things. So that's where I would reference, is I would tend to err back to do the work, because you're going to learn how to do it. You're going to learn how to make money in those positions. And then you're going to be able to systemize. So when you have the revenue and when you've built up the infrastructure, to then hire someone, plug them in, and have them do it the right way. Do it the way that is going to grow your business, that you've learned because you're talking to clients and you have the reps and you have the times at bat to know that that's going to be successful. So for the first 5 years of owning your gyms, you may be doing everything, and that's not abnormal. Now, you can gradually start to replace yourself, but I will tell you, I did. And most of the gym owners I know that are successful to this day, they did that. They hustled at the beginning. And can there be better uses of the owner's time? Absolutely, there can be. There is absolute value in finding better ways to utilize your time, but there's also extreme value in doing the work. I'm a huge fan of buying back your time, but you actually have to have the revenue to do so. You can't just buy back your time when you aren't making any money. This is akin to having the mindset of, I want to be rich someday, so I'm going to start flying private. Well, you've got the iteration and the order of operations backwards. You don't start flying private to get rich. People start flying private once they are rich. And that is a perk of that. So you don't start buying back your time the moment you open your gym and you don't have any revenue. You do the work, you create the revenue. And then after you've created the revenue and you've created a debt of time, then you start buying back that time and filling those roles with other people who can be skilled labor. You need to stop acting like you're rich or thinking 10 years down the road and then avoiding doing those things because they won't work later on down the road. You can solve that problem when you get there. I hate to use the old adage of cross that bridge when you come to it, right? Oh, I'm not going to hire this person because someday, I've heard this, I'm not going to hire this coach because they told me in their interview that someday they want to open a cheer gym and I don't want anyone working for me that's going to leave and go open a cheer gym. Well, one, that's a long way down the road. They may not ever do that. Two, who cares if they can bring immense value to your gym right now? There are ways to insulate yourself and protect yourself so they don't, leave and open the gym down the street and hose you. And that's going to looking into this person's character and evaluating their character and making sure you hire for someone who aligns with your values. And three, maybe this person's gym that they someday own is yours. Maybe they become your exit strategy where they buy you out. You do some seller financing. They pay you $5,000 a month for the next 15 years of your life while you sit on a beach or you open another business, right? You're creating opportunity. So instead of thinking about all the possible negatives down the road, focus on the now and get value out of the now. Number 4, and this is the last big one, is wasting money on things that don't make you money. It is the craziest thing in this industry that we will spend money on things that have absolutely zero return, but then we will wring our hands over spending money on paid ads or whether or not we should get a class management system because, well, this one is $20 more a month or this one charges this monthly fee, and so I can get this one for free. We wring our hands over the $20 and instead, but meanwhile, we got a uniform quote that was for $700 and we're like, yeah, deal, do it. And we aren't even marking it up. We will spend money on things or the latest, greatest piece of equipment or new spring floor or a mat with our logo on it. All those things are super cool. I'm not saying they're bad, and I'm not trying to talk anything badly about uniform companies or equipment companies or anything like that. But we will fork money out for those things in a heartbeat when they don't actually create revenue for us immediately, but worry about the things that are going to make revenue flow into our business. So we spend money on things that don't make us money, but then don't spend money on the things that do. So I'm going to give you my very simple framework for how I assess this. And I think you can use this tomorrow. So when I'm looking at a purchase, I go, does this product or thing or service increase my skill set as an owner? My skill sets are the most valuable thing I can invest in. Me and Tori, or with NextGen, the ownership team, the skill sets that we have are the most valuable asset we can invest in because that's something that can never be taken away from me. I can't lose it in a divorce. I can't lose it in a business separation. I can't lose my skills from the government. They can't take that away from me. They can never take away my skills. So if I am highly skilled, I'm set for life. Even if this business doesn't work out, I can't even tell you the comfort I have. And granted, I have 3 companies that are thriving and successful, but the comfort that I have knowing that, let's say another COVID round 2 hit and our gym closed and we went out of business. I have so many skills now from being an entrepreneur that I can get another job or I can start another business. The amount of knowledge that I've developed over the years makes me very dangerous from a business perspective. I can do a lot of work and I can bring in a lot of revenue because I've invested in my skills, because I've invested in growing those. So that is the number one investment I can make. So number one, does this product or process or system or whatever increase my skill set as an owner? Number two, does it increase my staff's skill set? Because I want to increase their skills. And does it increase their skill set to improve sales or improve retention? Because those are things that are going to directly impact my revenue, both top line and bottom line profit margins. Number three, does it get more bodies in the door or does it retain more bodies? So does it improve my skills? Does it improve my staff skills? Does it get more bodies in the door? Does it keep bodies in the gym longer? Okay. All of those things are impacting, generally speaking, revenue. They are things that are going to drive revenue in the business, and revenue is the literal blood of your business. It is the lifeblood of your business. Revenue makes it run. Okay. If the answer to all of those is no, then I have a very simple question. Is this product or service in my discretionary budget? And if it is, then I can buy the thing. And if you don't know how to set a discretionary budget, or you've never set a discretionary budget, you should learn how to do that, because it is good to know this is my discretionary budget for a year or for a month. So I know that I can buy some things that I want. I know that I can invest in a T trainer, which is a fantastic piece of equipment, or I can invest in something else, whether it be maybe I can't afford a standard. And I would argue, having someone do video production in your gym is of value. It does help increase sales, but maybe it's out of your normal budget. Well, is it in my discretionary budget, right? Maybe I spend money on that thing. So we want to stop wasting money on things that aren't making us money, as opposed to spending those things on things that do make us money. So I was recently listening to an interview with Alex Hormozi, and he was talking about the difference between learning and intelligence. And learning being knowledge, so teaching you something that involves the same conditions with a change in behavior. So it's same conditions, but different outcomes. So example given would be you answer the phone and for a sales call and you say ABC, and then I teach you instead, I want you to say DEF. With that script in front of you, say exactly this thing, you do that thing. Now, intelligence is your ability to apply how long it takes you to apply that learning. So without me holding your hand, without you in a controlled environment, have those same conditions, but be able to apply what it was you learned without someone telling you to do so. So someone who can learn, answer the phone, say DEF instead of ABC, and then the next time they answer the phone without any controls and then continued on down the line, they can say DEF and stop saying ABC. That person is intelligent. They have learned very quickly, versus someone who is less intelligent, takes 30, 40 repetitions at it and reminders of, hey, you're supposed to say DEF. And then they answer the phone and you're not standing there and they say ABC. And you're like, no, you're supposed to say DEF. And then it takes them a long time to implement that. That person is less intelligent because they're not able to learn and execute. So I say this at the end of the episode because if you want to be a super smart person, then you have now learned all of these things that you can change about the behaviors that you are exhibiting, and you could change them tomorrow. So I want to challenge you to be super smart because you're listening to this podcast. So I know you are, and change your behaviors so you are changing as fast as possible and you are leveraging how smart you are. Okay. No one wants to be dumb. So don't listen to this just for entertainment. Listen to this, learn, and then be smart and implement, because it's going to change your business. And I want to see you be successful. I want every single cheerleading gym in the United States, Canada, UK, Australia, I want to see our industry grow. And our industry is going to grow if there are more intelligent business owners running their businesses effectively and helping this industry grow. If you are charging the right prices, if you're growing financially, if you're supporting your staff, if we can pay our staff a living wage, the industry grows. If we can get more kids into the industry grows. So this is what I want to see. I want to see you change these mindsets so you can grow your business, build the life of your dreams, and be successful. All right, everyone, I hope you enjoyed the episode. As always, share it with someone who would get something out of it, another owner, another coach. If you're interested in learning how to join the academy and be coached by my amazing team of next-gen coaches, or maybe even coached by me, get onto nextgenowners.com, click that link, and let us get on a call with you and see how we can grow your gym tomorrow. All right, everyone, thank you for listening. We'll catch you on the next episode.